Welcome to Lesson 1. In this lesson, we're going to be discussing personal branding and social media. Now, in this lesson, we want to go ahead and take you through some comprehensive content. The first thing is being able to define what personal branding is, how does it actually relate to social media, and why are these two concepts important? But more than that, why are we putting them together? Then we want to go ahead and take you into social media directly. We want to speak of several elements that comprise social media and really what good social media presence looks like. Afterwards, we want to talk about the actual creation of your social media accounts and give you some step-by-step exercises in order to get you started. Afterwards, we want to talk about your profile. What is this information that you're putting out there? How are you presenting yourself to the world? And as well, we want to talk about passwords and security, not just regarding to your account and your actual passwords, but also regarding your person and the information that you want to put out there and what you may not want to put out there, and things you can do in order to control that. Now, the first part of our content is going to revolve around defining personal branding. So, what is personal branding per se? Basically, personal branding is nothing more than a set of elements that make you unique. I personally like to focus on the fact that personal branding is sort of a reflection of you. What is important to you? Are you a colorful person? Are you perhaps a jokester? And this is something that you want to make part of your brand. What does personal branding look like for me? In specific, it's always going to be remaining at people's disposal in order for them to feel free to contact me again. This is definitely part of my personal branding, and you can see this super marked on my emails, where I will always leave the closing statement of, should you need my assistance for anything, please do not hesitate in calling me back or in contacting me. As well, I like to just put it all out there and state, I remain at your disposal. Please contact me for anything else that you may need from me. This is part of my personal brand. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be part of yours, but I just want to make it evident that it can be very simple things that make you, you. Now, in this specific lessons, we cover a couple of key components that we want you to have super present. The first one, when developing your personal brand, or your personal branding, is to identify your unique value proposition. So, kind of like what I said, number one, what am I about? What is this element that goes into the either service that I'm offering or the type of employee that I am, and how that could be something positive to add on to a potential employer's company. Afterwards, we speak of defining your target audience. Now, when a personal brand exists, when a brand of any kind exists, it's normally targeted to a certain number of people. You can see this specifically in brands that are meant for young people, where you'll see certain elements that are very modern or maybe very modern. As well, you'll see colors perhaps be brighter. It really depends on the brand, but just know that when you define your target audience, it's just understanding who you're talking to and how those people or that group of persons wants to be talked to, in which way. Afterwards, we'll talk about creating your professional profile. Now, this is going to be a super big key component of what is personal branding around you. Why? Because your personal branding is a reflection, it's a compendium of everything that you want known. Afterwards, we'll talk about building an online presence. This is also going to be a key component of this lesson. Why? Because in order to start talking to people, you have to be there. Then we are going to get into other topics such as networking. We also want to go ahead and cover establishing thought leadership, and we'll define that further down the line. Now, identifying your unique value proposition. This is the first step in building your personal brand. It's basically identifying what sets you apart from others. You need to define your unique value proposition, which includes your skills, experience, strengths, and personality traits. Remember, nobody does you better than you. And that is definitely an add-on that is super powerful when it comes to your personal brand. Now, defining your target audience. Once you've identified what your unique value proposition is, the next step is to understand who might want to be a part of that, meaning who is that target audience. Now, you could also stop and think in relations to what is the service that I'm offering or what is the good that I'm selling. Who's going to buy this? When you start thinking like that, you're already thinking about your target audience, and your personal brand should definitely reflect them. Now, you should also understand what their needs are and what they're interested in. Because while your product might be the end goal, they might be a certain set of elements that is around this target group that you should be super interested into incorporating into what you're offering, or at least in the way that you're speaking to them. Then we need to talk about creating a professional profile. Now, a professional profile is an essential element of your personal branding as well. This includes a resume, perhaps a LinkedIn profile. Now, when we talk about LinkedIn, we're speaking about the social network that exists, which is specifically geared towards professional. So we're already talking about that online presence or that digital footprint that we mentioned at the beginning. Then you might also want to consider a personal website or any other platform that helps you to showcase your skills or your product or the services and the values behind that services that you are looking to sell. Developing a brand message. Now, your brand message is a concise statement. It should communicate in a very short sentence, or at least in a very short paragraph, who you are, what you stand for, and what you can offer. This message should be consistent across all your platform communications. In my example, it's the example of remaining at people's disposal, so they feel free to contact me. So that's, to me, is definitely a part of my brand message. It is being at people's disposal should they need anything from me. I do this by signing all my emails in very similar ways, where the offer for further assistance is always there. Ergo, I do leave that door open for everyone, and that is definitely part of my personal. Afterwards, we're going to have to do the work and actually build an online presence. Now, building a strong online presence is critical for personal branding. Why? Because that's the moment where you put all of the information that you've already gathered about yourself, about your personal statement, and then put it out there for your target audience. So this should include creating and maintaining social media profiles and also contributing to online discussions as well as blogging if you have the option. It's super important to be there, to be online, and to let people know how you're reacting to either current events, opinions, or again, things that speak to your personal brand and your personal statement. Networking is crucial. I'm not going to say that it's all about who you know, but it's also about who knows you, who's aware of what you're doing. Networking is going to be a key element of personal branding. It involves exactly that, building relationships with other professionals who could be either in your area or from areas that are loosely related. Maybe they're attending industry events and joining professional associations. It depends. It really is left to you where you see the value, but you should be out there. Remember, no man, no woman is an island. Nobody can do it alone. So building a network, whether that be a support network or just people who can stand by what your personal message and your personal brand is amazing. Establishing thought leadership. Thought leadership involves establishing yourself as an expert in your field. This can be achieved by content creation. Now, you could also speak at events, or you could share just insights and opinions by answering comments or jumping on online discussions that you might see on threads on social media. But it's super important to let people know where you stand in regards to your professional. So, I always say that when I see, for example, a discussion on either certain EU programs and people's opinion on them, I might want to jump in there and give people an idea of what I think. Why? Because I work within these programs. In fact, it's how we've been able to establish EmpowHERment Lab. through the co-funding of Erasmus. We do want you to have some hands-on experience. So we want you to go ahead and tackle the practical exercise of knowing yourself and knowing your brand. We hope that you've taken advantage of this exercise and really followed along and reflected on your personal and professional values. We hope that you've been able to write these down, and perhaps by looking at it, you'll have a clear and concise idea. This practical exercise has been developed directly by us, and we really hope that you take advantage of it because it's going to help you not just now and in the future, but also for the next lessons in this module. Now, if we wanted to summarize this lesson into key takeaways, we would have to start by saying personal branding, comprehensive process that involves several elements, and you need to understand what those different elements are in order to sort of successfully and comprehensively understand yourself and what you're about. As well, it's super important to be consistent. So, by identifying your unique value proposition, you should define your target audience, create a professional profile, and develop your brand message. As well, start building your online presence. Networking is crucial, as well as establishing yourself as a thought leader. You can build a strong personal brand this way, and it can be very powerful with the types of messages that you can send to your users or to the people who are reading you. Also, understanding the importance of personal branding and the tools and techniques necessary to establishing a strong personal brand will help you to understand and stand out in the modern job market and entrepreneurship landscape. Because you have to understand, when it comes to building a personal brand, it's not just about saying, I'm going to do my own thing. This is going to be super relevant to people who are seeking employment. Why? Because an employer should know what we're about. We shouldn't just be a number, and we shouldn't allow that to happen. They need to understand that while we may bring concrete skills, we also bring a personality. We also bring values to the table. And if those are super aligned with those of the company, you've got yourself a perfect match. So let's look at social media and personal branding. Now, social media will enable people to create, share, and interact with content and each other in real time. Meaning, the minute that you put something up, you could get a like right away, you could get a comment, you could get an opinion from someone, and that's going to be positive. Now, it has become a very popular way for people to connect, share ideas, and stay informed. Right now, many people, and we will go through these statistics, are actually on social media, much more than you may know. So it is important to be there. As well, a strong social media presence can showcase your unique qualities and expertise to a larger audience, and establishing yourself as a thought expert in your field while connecting you with other professionals. So in essence, social media and personal branding are going to go ahead and help you to build that network, what we so recommend. Now, in this next lesson, we will also explore how social media can be used for personal branding, the importance for social media, of certain social media platforms, and the types of contents and users that are popular on each platform. This is going to be super important when you realize that if you've defined your target audience correctly and you understand who your product, who your service is for, or what types of company you actually want to target, if you know where you can go ahead and find them, then you're going to be able to connect to them and do your thing with your personal brand, which is going to be super special because when people respond to that, that means that you've engaged them. Now, let's go a little bit through the importance of social media platforms, okay? Facebook. Facebook is probably the most known social media platform. It's a site that encompasses a lot of personal profiles. So we're talking about individuals, but we also see a lot of businesses on there. We also see a lot of interest groups or like pages where people just feel that they know either a celebrity and are super aligned with them, or they're super aligned with a brand just because they like it and they like that brand's special personal message. So that's something to look at as an example to follow. But normally that tends to be the dynamic on Facebook. People tend to go there to connect either with old friends or with family members. Also, they like sharing photos, videos, and normally links to either articles or news clips with their opinions posted on it. That tends to be, as I said, the dynamic with Facebook. Then we have Twitter. Twitter is a microblogging platform for real time updates. It could be quite complicated and daunting because it's very fast moving, but if your brand and what you have to offer finds itself here on Twitter, it could be a super powerful tool for you. However, you have to keep in mind that it is very fast paced, and here certain technical elements will take hold. For example, the use of the hashtag. The use of the hashtag is basically designed for you to follow a specific topic and jump into those conversations. This can be a super powerful tool in order to have others see you as a thought leader or to just have your presence in certain topics that are related or even loosely related to what you do. It's an opportunity to really plug yourself in. And when it comes to Twitter, that's a very powerful tool and you should consider this. Should your brand align to it and should your target audience actually be there? Normally we'll find a certain type of demographic there, meaning certain types of professionals, and we're definitely going to go ahead and explain that to you in this lesson a little bit further down the line, so I'm not going to get ahead of myself. But it's super important that you do understand that this platform can be very, very powerful in this sense because it's right there. It's almost like having a newspaper on demand with everything that's happening in the world all at the same time. Daunting, no? But I promise you, there are ways of looking at it. And if Twitter is your social media platform that you understand and you like, then that's going to be even better for you. Afterwards, we have Instagram. Now, Instagram is very niche, meaning that it's very specific in the type of content and the type of users that it has. Now, normally it's photo and video sharing app. While it started as a photo app, it's moved more into video. Why? Simply because video right now is super demanded. People go on social media more than they go on their TVs in order to be entertained. So, Instagram has kept itself as a visual content platform, but it's definitely migrated from pictures into stories and reels. Now, you might be familiar with these terms and with these elements, but you should know that it's a great tool for you to get your personal message out there and let people know what your personal brand is. Afterwards, we have LinkedIn. Now, this is going to be the go-to for professional networking. Here, this particular platform is made for professionals. Now, while not all professionals are there in the sense of not all areas have found themselves there, but it's very interesting to see that certain sectors have found a lot of life on LinkedIn. While it started mainly out by being the banking sector and certain administrative sectors that found a lot of life and a lot of movement here, LinkedIn slowly but surely, started becoming a place where job offers started coming up. And while it builds digital networks of professionals, you're able to connect with people who come from your area and who make you or put you closer in a certain network to either certain companies or other professionals. And again, whether you're looking to offer a service or whether you're looking to offer a concrete product that you've developed or whether you're just job searching, it's super important for you to be connected to the people who are connected to that main objective that you are, meaning the company or the target audience. Afterwards, we have YouTube. Now, YouTube is a social platform. Many people don't tend to understand this because it kind of lacks certain things, and we normally, as users, just see the video side of it. If you've had experience with YouTube, you know that you normally log on and you've got all the content which is tailored for you. If you watch one video on sewing, you'll get 10 suggestions on videos of sewing. And this is what's called the algorithm of a social media. But in this case, we're talking about YouTube. Now, the algorithm is just something that it's basically code and a way for the platform to say, oh, okay, you like this, so I'm going to give you more of this. Now, YouTube, as I was saying, is video sharing platform, which is purely for entertainment, educational, news, and politics. But it can be a great tool for you to build an audience if you have a powerful message or if you want to develop your personal brand or the services or products that you want to offer within this platform. I must say that in my personal experience, community building, meaning getting followers, likes, and comments on YouTube, can be hard at the beginning, but should you be able to build around that and actually build your online community there, it can be a super powerful tool. So, what types of users are on each social media platform and what are they talking about? Now, we mentioned a lot of social media platforms, and we need to be objective and understand that while actually most people have an account on each and every one of these, not everybody is going to be active in all of them. For example, in Facebook, it tends to be kind of a mix of personal updates, news articles, photos, and videos, but people are thinking more of Facebook as their playground. They're really letting themselves show in an impersonal or a very personal way, best said, but just not a professional setting. However, people who do proposition themselves or present themselves in a professional way are also using Facebook correctly, because we can't say there's a right way or a wrong way of actually presenting yourself in this platform. But we should understand that people are on there mostly to connect, have conversations, and see what everybody else is up to. Then we have Twitter. Now, as I said, Twitter can be an actual daunting perspective because it's all about real time updates on current events and trends. Something that trends just means something that is happening right now or happened very recently, and people are just talking about it. However, this is a great way for a brand or, let's say, a professional such as yourself who's looking to perhaps offer services to grab on to a trending topic. A trending topic could be, let's say, sewing. There's been an article on sewing, or there was something that was super viral on social media, and a lot of people have watched it, and everybody's talking about sewing. And let's say that the service that you're offering is or has to do with sewing. You could definitely jump into that conversation. And guess what? If you've got something important to say or you've got an important opinion as a professional from that area, people will probably look at you. People will probably want to know what you're thinking once you let it be known what your opinion is. They might debate you, they might be in agreement with you, or they might be in disagreement. But it's going to be a great way to get the conversation started around you and your personal brand. We have Instagram, which is all about visual content, photos and videos that highlight interest and lifestyles. Now, people here are all about their aesthetics, meaning what am I visually to the world? Or what it is that I want to be to the world visually. So we will have a lot of content which could be skewed in a way, but it's a great way for brands or professionals to sort of let their potential clients know what their aesthetic is. I always like to put the example of people who might be interested in developing a business in wedding planning. Now, when it comes to a wedding, might be looking for a very specific visual effect that they want to their event or to their special day. And guess what? If you're a wedding planner and you're able to convey that, your personal aesthetic to your clients and it matches with what they're looking for, there's going to be a match and they're going to understand that you are like-minded. Ergo, they might write you in order to hire you for their special day. So that's kind of a very simplistic way of looking at it, but it actually is that simple. I've known personally several individuals who have gotten their businesses off the ground in this way. However, going back to the actual platform, if what you have to offer tends to be very lifestyle oriented, meaning a certain way of living or around a special diet, and you want to let it be known that this is the way that you do it, or like I said, it's something very visual, meaning it involves an aesthetic, then Instagram is definitely going to be the platform for you. Then we look at LinkedIn, which is all about industry news, thought leadership content, and updates on professional lives. This is a very professional network, but it's also a great way to let people know what your brand is about. Now, normally, all the profiles here are also personal profiles, but you should understand that For like-minded professionals from your area, it could be a way to build a following from them in order to either give you great suggestions, give you great feedback, or understand that what you're doing has value and they want to go ahead and share it. And then we go back to YouTube, which, as I said before, it's basically videos covering a wide range of topics. It's quite open, but you want to look at it objectively and say, hey, do I have a lot to say? Could I potentially have a YouTube video? I do have to say that with YouTube, it's going to be a great tool to create content if you've got, long content, meaning a video that is more than 2 minutes long. But what you can do is also use YouTube as what I like to call a content repository, meaning you create your video there, and perhaps your goal is not to build a community on YouTube, but what you want to do is have an actual link that you can share onto other social media platforms where you do have that level of engagement, meaning that there's people liking, commenting, or sharing your content directly. So that could be a great combination. And we'll talk about that a little bit down the line as well. Tips for using social media for personal branding. Now, consistently sharing high quality content that reflects your personality and interest is going to be key. Establishing yourself as an expert in your field by sharing industry insights and thought leadership content. Don't be afraid to put yourself at the center of that content either. If you've got an opinion and you think that as a person who's qualified to give that opinion, and it could be in any area. As I said, you could be a person in tech, or you could be somebody who does something manually. You're still qualified to give an opinion on that topic, and you should take advantage of that because people will appreciate, anybody who's looking for an opinion in that field will appreciate that. Afterwards, we need to look to network and engage with other professionals on social media to build valuable connections with them, but not just with them, also with their audience. Because guess what? Once somebody from your area who perhaps has a lot of people following them or has a lot of friends, when they like your content, it'll also be visible to their friends that that person has liked your content. And that could be a way for you to gain even more followers. Afterwards, you should look to create and maintain your professional profile that showcases your skills, experiences, and achievements. I think that's the type of information that I always like to focus on, ensuring that people understand that they should be sharing. Some of us might be shy, or we think, oh, nobody's going to be interested, or this, I don't think it's that great because we're being way too critical. But you know what? It's all about the small victories. If you've achieved anything and you think that it's noteworthy or something that you'll remember, chances are your audience is also going to find that useful, and it's going to be a great way to highlight your professional journey from the minute you start until you're a bona fide professional. So let's look at some lesson conclusions and key takeaways, okay? So social media is an essential tool for building your personal brand and achieving your career goals. Not just because, let's face it, everybody is on there, but it's also a great way to start letting people know in a very inexpensive manner. Really, all it takes is some creativity, what your service is, what your product is, or letting companies where you're looking for jobs know what you're about and what you can potentially bring to the table. Now, each social media platform is made for a specific use, and the people that use them and the content that look for are going to vary. So just make sure that you look for the social media platform that best fits you and that target audience that you have in mind. Now, by understanding the importance of social media platforms and the types of users and content that are popular in each platform, as I said, you can start building that presence by being super objective and understanding where those people that might be interested in your services or your product or in you as an individual or a potential employee are. Then you're set for success. I'll see you in the next lesson.